Ridgewater, Vermont, a quiet town framed by pine trees, frostbitten mornings, and belief that nothing truly bad ever happens here. That belief shattered on November 23rd, when Julia Alden, a beloved fifth-grade teacher, vanished after school. Julia was the kind of teacher everyone remembered. She decorated her classroom with handmade art, wrote encouraging notes on students' papers, and always said, "Every child can be saved if someone just listens." When she didn't come home that night, her husband, Evan Alden, thought she was working late again. But hours later, a jogger found her silver Subaru idling beside Ridgewater Lake. Door open, headlights still glowing against the fog. Her phone, purse, and coat were inside. Julia was gone. And just like that, Ridgewater's innocence disappeared too. At first, the police assumed a kidnapping. The frozen lake was searched, the woods combed, and the townspeople gathered every evening with flashlights, calling her name. Evan, her husband, became the first suspect, like they always do. People said he was quiet, distant, maybe even too calm. But when detectives searched their home, they found no signs of struggle. Then came the first strange discovery. Inside Julia's classroom desk was a sealed envelope labeled, "For when I'm gone." Inside was a single sheet of paper with one line written in neat handwriting. "You can't save someone who doesn't want to be found." The letter shifted everything. Was Julia running from someone or something inside herself? The investigation deepened. Detectives discovered Julia had been receiving letters for months, and signed, written in uneven, almost childlike handwriting. Each began the same way. "Dear Mrs. Alden, thank you for saving me." Forensics dated some of the paper to over 20 years old. Then came another break. 3 weeks before her disappearance, Julia had visited Greenvale Correctional Facility to see an inmate named David Harlan. Harlan was serving time for arson and assault. He claimed Julia had been his teacher when he was a boy, though official records showed no trace of that connection. The visit log showed she stayed for 23 minutes. When she left, she appeared shaken, whispering to a guard, "Maybe now I can sleep." 3 days later, she disappeared. When hikers found her body under a blanket of snow near the lake, she was lying peacefully. Next to her was her grade book, filled entirely with the letter A. No blood, no struggle, no foul play. The truth unraveled when police re-examined Harlan's records. His real name wasn't David. It was Danny Harlan, a former student of Julia's from another town, decades earlier. As a child, Danny lived a hard life. Abuse, neglect, and a house fire that killed his parents. He vanished after the blaze. Julia, then a young teacher, had blamed herself for missing the signs of what he'd been going through. She carried that guilt for over 20 years. When she received his letter, the teacher who remembers, she realized the boy she thought had died was alive. But he wasn't the broken child she remembered. He was a man haunted by the same past she was. Julia's final visit to him wasn't for closure. It was confession. She believed she had failed him. When she walked into the woods that night, she wasn't running from anyone. She was walking toward the only peace she thought she could find. The endless A, S in her grade book weren't grades. They stood for one word: atonement. The town mourned her as a victim. Her husband, Evan, mourned her as someone he never truly understood. In the spring thaw, when the snow melted and the school reopened, her classroom remained untouched. The students placed fresh apples on her desk, one for each life she'd touched. Evan later published her story in a memoir titled The Silence of Mrs. Alden. The first line read, "Some crimes are never committed by the hand of others, only by the weight of our own guilt. In Ridgewater, Julia's story isn't told as a murder mystery anymore. It's a tragedy about the crimes of the heart, the kind that leave no fingerprints, but never stop bleeding.